At this stage, I'm going to show you how to export your animation. File, Export, Render Video, now I think it's a good idea to export all your bits of animation as unmatted QuickTime files, because then you can layer them up in a video editing program. These creeping hands can be chasing a person running, for example. If I wanted to create that scenario on a single Photoshop file, it would be a lot more layers than you see here, a lot larger file, and a lot more complicated to animate both the person running and the hands in motion. So let me show you how to do that. Export, as I said, export render video. If you are on this choice, H.264, you don't have a choice to get the alpha channel, which is this empty space here, this sort of a gray checkerboard area. So for me, working on a Mac, I have to choose QuickTime, alpha channel, straight unmatted. And it will create a short video file that is still kind of large because of the pixel dimensions of this. It'll be a .mov file, creeping hands. We will render this to this place. And just to show you what this looks like in a video editing program, I'm going to open Premiere. Here's my creeping hands. It's only 31 megabytes in size. And it has a black background currently because there's nothing underneath, and that's what Premiere gives you when you throw things in there. And it's very short. It's only 1 second long because I have it 30 frames per second. Of course, I can slow things down in Premiere, or I can loop them. I'm holding Alt, clicking on my footage, and then stretching it out, doing it again. And if you're working in loops, it just makes sense to create smaller files and then loop them in the program of choice you have, rather than creating 10 seconds worth of the same loop over and over. Because if you can imagine 1 second is 30 megabytes in size, then 10 seconds be 300 megabytes in size or larger, and it gets larger and larger from there. Bigger files, harder to work with. If I wanted to add backgrounds or other animations, I can plop them on the underlying video line, just like these Photoshop layers. Or if I wanted to throw a background in Photoshop and have that be a featured part of my animation, I can. Just know that when you put something in after the fact, it's going to appear on every layer. So putting this sort of explosion line in as a background, now it's in every single layer of my animation, which may or may not be the desired effect. So up to you. My main recommendation is design all your animations independently in Photoshop for your motion comic, and then use a video editing program that allows you to have multiple tracks. But if you don't have that, you can compile everything in Photoshop. Just be aware that you'll be using a lot more than the 8 or so layers I have in this section.